Jaya Maya Iskon Guru Vrinda Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shishi Gonitai Maya Poshashi Ki Jai. So we're reading from Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita, the nectar of his pastimes. This is the section entitled The Last Instruction. Prabhupada's last instruction was showing us how to die. Last week in Hrishikesh was idyllic, heavenly with perfect weather and hopes of Prabhupada eating and recovering. But on the 8th night, a violent storm hit, and with the storm came a drastic turn in Prabhupada's health. He said the end was near, and he asked to go immediately to Vrindavan, in case Krishna wanted him to depart from the world very soon. The devotees in Hrishikesh had been in high spirits, and so had Srila Prabhupada. While crossing the Ganges by boat, Shishikonitai Mai Pashashiki Jai. Prabhupada had requested drinking water to be fetched from the center of the river. He had liked the lodge provided by his host, and he'd even gone into the kitchen to show his disciples how to cook. Word had spread through the pilgrimage tourist town that A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami was present, and Prabhupada had agreed to hold a darshan from 5 to 6 p.m. daily. The room had always been crowded at that hour, with 40 or 50 people, including Western hippies and Sikhs, as well as Indians, on pilgrimage and vacation. Although Srila Prabhupada's voice had been extremely faint, he had spoken with force, stressing Bhagavad Gita as it is. When an American hippie had questioned him skeptically, Prabhupada had replied, "You cannot understand because you are crazy." And when a lady had put forward materialistic welfare work as the highest good, Prabhupada had replied, "Your compassion is as valuable as blowing on a boil to heal it." Srila Prabhupada ki. So they probably recorded those talks. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Special day on the calendar, Panihati Chida Dahi Utsava. Raghunath Das Goswami served a chipped rice and yogurt feast for Lord Nityananda and his associates. Unseen by most, Lord Chaitanya also came to take part in the festival. Raghunath Das lived at home as a householder, although his deepest desire was to renounce everything and join Chaitanya and his devotees in Jagannath Puri. He tried to run away many times, but his father always brought him back. Mahaprabhu advised him to remain at home and outwardly live a life of a sense enjoyer as the son of a wealthy businessman, and the time will come when he can leave all that behind. One day, Lord Nityananda came to the village of Panihati with his associates, and Raghunath Das went to see him and to offer his obeisances. Lord Nityananda ordered him to arrange a feast for all the devotees. Raghunath Das had his men purchase chipped rice, yogurt, milk, sweetmeats, sugar, bananas, and other eatables. As soon as they heard that a festival was going to be held, all kinds of Brahmins and other gentlemen began to arrive. Thus there were innumerable people. Raghunath Das brought hundreds of earthen pots, and he also obtained a few, especially large pots, to soak chipped rice for the satisfaction of Lord Nityananda. In one place, the chipped rice was soaked in hot milk in each of the large pots. Then half the rice was mixed with yogurt, sugar, and bananas. The other half was mixed with condensed milk and a special type of banana known as champa kala. Then sugar, clarified butter, and camphor were added. After Nityananda Prabhu had changed his cloth for a new one and sat on a raised platform, a Brahmin brought before him 7 huge pots. On that platform, all the most important associates of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, as well as other important men, sat down in a circle around the Lord. Hearing about the festival, all kinds of learned scholars, Brahmins, and priests arrived. Lord Nityananda Prabhu honored them and made them sit on the raised platform with him. Everyone was offered 2 earthen pots. In one was put chipped rice with condensed milk, and in the other chipped rice with yogurt. All the other people sat in groups around the platform. Some of the Brahmins, not having gotten a place on the platform, went to the bank of the Ganges with their 2 earthen pots and soaked their chipped rice there. Others who couldn't get a place, even on the bank of the Ganges, got down into the water and began eating their 2 cans of chipped rice. When everyone had been served, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, in meditation, brought Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived, Lord Nityananda stood up. They then saw how the others were enjoying chipped rice with yogurt and condensed milk. From each and every pot, Lord Nityananda took one morsel of chipped rice and pushed it into the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a joke. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, also smiling, took a morsel of food and pushed it into the mouth of Nityananda and laughed as he made Lord Nityananda eat it. In this way, Lord Nityananda was walking through all the groups of eaters, and all the Vaishnavas standing there were seeing the fun. No one could understand what Nityananda was doing as he walked about. Some people who were very fortunate could see that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also present. The day after the festival, Nityananda Prabhu gave Raghunath Das the blessing that he would very soon attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Before long, Raghunath Das managed to run away with the help of his priest, Yadunandan Acharya, and after 12 days he arrived in Jagannath Puri at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Later, the Lord sent him to Vrindavan, and he became known as Raghunath Das Goswami. Jai! Raghunath Das Goswami, Prabhupada ki Jai. So, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. So, this is chapter 6. Canto 6, chapter 18, entitled Diti vows to kill King Indra. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll run through the English, and then when we get to the verse that's got a purport, then we'll do the Sanskrit. Oh, my mother, oh, best of all women, I am a fool. Kindly excuse me for whatever offenses I've committed. Your 49 sons have been born unheard because of your devotional service. As an enemy, I cut them to pieces, but because of your great devotional service, they did not die. Sri Shukadeva Goswami continued, Diti was extremely satisfied by Indra's good behavior. Then Indra offered his respects to his aunt with profuse obeisances, and with her permission, he went away to the heavenly planets with his brothers, the Maruts. My dear King, I have replied as far as possible to the questions you have asked me, especially in regard to this pure, auspicious narration about the Maruts. Now you may inquire further, and I shall explain more. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 6th canto, 18th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Diti Vows to Kill King Indra, chapter 19, performing the Pungsavana ritualistic ceremony. This chapter explains how Diti, Kajapa Muni's wife, executed Kajapa Muni's instructions on devotional service during the first day of the bright fortnight of the moon in the month of Agrahayana, November-December. Every woman, following the footsteps of Diti and following the instructions of her own husband, should begin this Pumsavana Vratra. In the morning, after washing her teeth, bathing, and thus becoming purified, she would hear about the birth mystery of the Maruts. Then, covering her body with a white dress and being properly ornamented, before breakfast, she would worship Lord Vishnu and Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. Lord Vishnu's wife, by glorifying Lord Vishnu for his mercy, patience, prowess, ability, greatness, and other glories, about how he can bestow all mystic benedictions, while offering the Lord all paraphernalia for worship, such as ornaments, a sacred thread, scents, nice flowers, incense, and water for bathing and washing his feet, hands, and mouth. One should invite the Lord with this mantra: Om Namo Bhagavate Mahapurushaya Mahona Bhavaya Maha Vibhuti Pataye Saha Maha Vibhutabhiya Balim Upaharami. You know that one, yeah? Then one should offer 12 oblations in the fire while chanting this mantra: Om Namo Bhagavate Mahapurushaya Mahavibhuti Pataye Swaha. One should offer obeisances while chanting this mantra 10 times. Then one should chant the Lakshmi Narayan mantra. If either a pregnant woman or a husband regularly discharges this devotional service, both of them will receive the result. After continuing this process for 1 full year, the chaste wife should fast on the Purnim, the full moon day of Kartik. On the following day, the husband should worship the Lord as before, and then observe a festival by cooking nice food and distributing prasad to the Brahmins. Then, with the permission of the Brahmins, the husband and wife should take prasad. This chapter ends by glorifying the results of the Pumsavana function. So, next one. Maharaj Parikshit said, My dear Lord, you have already spoken about the Pumsavana vow. Now I want to hear about it in detail, for I understand that by observing this vow, one can please the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Shukadeva Goswami said, on the first day of the bright fortnight of the month of Agrahayana, November-December, following the instructions of her husband, a woman should begin this regulative devotional service with a vow of penance, for it can fulfill all one's desires. Before beginning the worship of Lord Vishnu, the woman should hear the story of how the Maruts were born. Under the instructions of qualified Brahmins in the morning, she should wash her teeth, bathe, and dress herself with white cloth and ornaments. Before taking breakfast, she should worship Lord Vishnu and Lakshmi. Next, 4. Alam te nirapekshaya. Alam te nirapekshaya. Una kama namosti te. Una kama namostu te. Mahavibhuti pataye. Mahavibhuti pataye. Namaha sakala siddhaye. Namaha sakala siddhaye. Alam te nirapekshaya. Purnakama namostute. Mahavibhuti pataye. Namasakala siddhaye. Alam te nirapekshaya. Purnakama namostute. Mahavibhuti pataye. Namasakala siddhaye. Alam te nirapekshaya. Purnakama namostute. Mahavibhuti pataye. Namasakala siddhaye. Alam te nirapekshaya. Purnakama namostute. Namasakala siddhaye. Alam, enough. Hey, to you. Nirapekshaya. Indifferent. Purnakama. O Lord, whose desire is always fulfilled. Namaha. Obeisances. Astu. May there be. Te. Unto you. Mahavibhuti. Of Lakshmi. Pataye. Unto the husband. Namaha. Obeisances. Sakala Siddhaye. Unto the master of all mystic perfections. Translation. We should then pray to the Lord as follows. My dear Lord, you are full in all opulences, but I do not beg you for opulence. I simply offer my respectful obeisances unto you. You are the husband and the master of Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, who has all opulences. Therefore, you are the master of all mystic power. I simply offer my obeisances unto you. Responsibly, please. She should then pray to the Lord as follows. My dear Lord, you are full in all opulences, but I do not beg you for opulence. I simply offer my respectful obeisances unto you. You are the husband and master of Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, who has all opulences. Therefore, you are the master of all mystic yoga. I simply offer my obeisances unto you. Abba Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. A devotee knows how to appreciate the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ampanam adapanamidam punat punamadachite punashapanamidaya punameva vishishite. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because He is completely perfect, all emanations from Him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because He is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from Him, He remains the complete balance. Therefore, to take shelter of the Supreme Lord is required. Whatever a devotee needs will be supplied by the complete Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tesham nitya bhayuktanam Yoga Kshema Vyaham Yam. Therefore, a pure devotee will not ask anything from the Lord. He simply offers the Lord his respectful obeisances, and the Lord is prepared to accept whatever the devotee can secure to worship him, even patram pushpam phalam toyam, a leaf, flower, fruit, or water. There is no need to artificially exert oneself. It is better to be plain and simple, and with respectful obeisances, offer to the Lord whatever one can secure. The Lord is completely able to bless the devotee with all opulences. Om Gana Timarandasya Gananyana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantika Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasali Gaura Bhattarinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Vanchikapatrubhischa, Kripa Sindhubhyevacha, Panitanam Bhavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, this is the Pumsavana ritualistic ceremony being described, and the nectar of instruction. Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada, one of the 6 Goswamis in our line, he took all the instructions of the Bhagavatam and he condensed them into 11 instructions called the nectar of instruction. And in the, he gives the basics, the essential ingredients for spiritual life. And then the Bhagavatam has so many stories and phalastutis that you can have from reading particular pastimes, and so it's more expansive. But Srila Rupa Goswami, he condensed it into the 11 instructions, and then Srila Prabhupada took those 11 instructions and he condensed them into the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So if you look at it, you see the significance. Somebody just put a flower garland on me. That frees me from so many sinful reactions from so many lifetimes. Just that one thing alone. Then I did the circumambulation of Tulsi Devi. That frees me from the direction of killing a Brahmin. I didn't kill any Brahmins yesterday, but just if I had, I've killed one, then I would be freed from those reactions. That's on a daily basis. It's like an intense purification every day. Mangalarti, seeing the deity as well, arti is being offered to them. So many sinful reactions you're purified of. Chanting the holy names, Kali Yuga, Harinam Sankirtan, is the Yuga Dharma. It's the process for emancipation. So we do that for 2 hours, chant so many thousands of holy names. Then we worship the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, in Guru Puja. We dance for his pleasure. And then we hear Bhagavatam, and then we go and take prasadam. So we have a real concentrated, essential series of procedures and ceremonies, so that when we go into the day to do service after our breakfast at 9:30, we're ready for anything. Nuclear war, no problem. Bring it on. No problem. Mushroom cloud, Hare Krishna. Hare Bo. There's a story of a coach going over the side of a mountain in Nepal. It was full of devotees. And the other devotees saw it going over, and as it went over, they heard Haribo. So the devotees are ready for death, or anything else. If you're ready for death, then whatever else is going to come is less than that. So anyway, we're being prepared and trained, so that at that moment we can vacate the material world once and for all, leave it behind, and not ever have to come back again. And then there are so many expansions. So the Bhagavatam is giving us, and what we have is the condensed version of the Bhagavatam. We have 18,000 verses, but the demigods have the Bhagavatam, but then it's many more verses than what we have. And then we have the condensed version of that, and then we have Srila Prabhupada giving us the... And then if people say, oh, this is too much, 16 rounds, can we not just do 4 rounds and follow 3 regs? I mean, this is just too much. Then it's such an insult that someone has made it so easy for us, and we're not prepared to do the bare minimum, then it's going to be very difficult for us to go home. Any questions or comments?
Elaborated Srimad Bhagavatam there. And how is it like they have such an elaborated Srimad Bhagavatam? They must be reading as well and all. But why is it like many from there don't go to Godhead, or they still get carried away? Why don't they develop a detachment? And
If I understood you correctly, you're saying, why don't we have more than what we have in the Bhagavatam?
no, why the heavenly planets? So the denizens of heavenly planets, they have a Srimad Bhagavatam which is more detailed.
Why do they have more?
They have a Bhagavatam which is more detailed, but why are they not able to develop detachment and go to Godhead from there? Why do they have to come to earth and then?
Well, I haven't been up there myself to give you the statistics, but it is said that in the heavenly planets there are some that do engage in austerities, and they ascend as the universe is filling up. At the end of the Lord Brahma's day, the universe is a partial devastation, and the water starts to come up. And as it gets close, the devotees, some of them anyway, on the higher planetary systems, they hop up into the next one, then the water comes up, and then they hop onto the next one, and eventually they go to Brahmaloka. And then from Brahmaloka it is possible to become free. So there are some that do that. But then there's also much more sense gratification. And Krishna's, he's not averse. If you want to enjoy yourself, that's why he created the material world. And if you follow the rules of the game properly, then you can find yourself in a very nice, comfortable situation. And so Krishna's like, okay, well, is that what you want? In fact, Srila Prabhupada said, half of my disciples want to go to the heavenly planets. But what that means is you go to the heavenly planets, you enjoy for some time, and then you go back to Godhead. Not that you go to the heavenly planets and then you have to come back again. So you get the choice. You want to go straight back, or you want to have some fun on the way and then go back. So it's a congenial atmosphere. It's in the mode of goodness in the heavenly planets. And they can engage in activities which are here in the middle planetary system, you accrue simple reaction. They don't accrue any simple reaction. So it's not that Krishna's averse to us enjoying ourselves, but you have to earn the facility to do that. And then if you want to enjoy yourself, okay, that's fine. There's many places where Krishna benedicts a devotee. He gives them all his material desires, he fulfills them, and then he gives them going back to God because he loves his devotee so much. If they want to do this, that, or the next thing, that's fine. He's like a father. Okay, you want to go and play with the toys? You've been a very good boy. Play with the toys, and then we're going to go home. So a very loving father. But of course, if the boy loves his father very much, then he doesn't want to mess around with the toys. He just wants to go straight back to his father, No, I don't want to play around with this silly thing, Daddy. I just want to come back now. And that's generally where our mood is in the middle planetary system, is we don't want to extend our stay. Because there is a chance you can fall from the heavenly planets. And if you fall down, come back here. Chanaka Pandit says the most severe type of misery is falling from the heavenly planets. It is the saddest thing for the living entity, to be taken from that and have to come down. Because it's so beautiful and perfect there, So yeah, there's more facility. But Krishna won't stand in the way if you want to fulfill some material desires. I mean, in Vaikuntha, he's giving them all bodies like his, and they're all flying around in airplanes, and they have beautiful wives, and they have unlimited opulence. Krishna's like, he's not a miser, He shares his opulence quite freely. Is that okay? So it's really been chalked out for us. The Bhagavatam it's like it's showing us this is the mood, this is the attitude, these are the activities. It's making it very, really, really clear what is the goal of life and how to achieve it. And so that's why it's essential that we distribute the Bhagavatam. And also that we become Bhagavatams ourselves. There's the Bhagavat, which is the Puranas and There's the Bhagavat, which is the person who moves around, and he's a living Bhagavatam. He's become so absorbed in the Lord's pastimes and so purified, he becomes a moving Bhagavat. And then anyone he comes in contact with, their life has changed. You know? It shouldn't be ourselves that we become so spiritually potent that we can change a person's life profoundly. He just hears a few things from us, and he's never the same again. He has an epiphany. He sees, what am I doing here? He gains the faith that there is a supreme being, and his life goes on a different course completely. That's why Rupa Goswami in the first instruction, Vacha Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udarapasta Vegam, Etam Vegam, Vishahotadira, Savam, Apimam, Prativim, Shishishat, Shisha. Go and take disciples all over the world, not just in Les Mahego. Or where do you live?
India.
You're in India.
Yeah.
And where do you live in Kartika?
And
Oh, sorry, you're Kartika. What's your name? Mikkel. Okay. Mitten. Nikin. Oh, Nikin. 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 Nikhn. Nikin. Hin. Nikin. Okay. Got it in the end.
Kill means, happy, kill.
Oh, so he's always happy.
Yeah.
And what does Nick mean? Someone stolen it off him? Oh, okay. Infinite bliss. Well, that's quite a name to live up to, eh? You can never look miserable. And where do you live? Okay. So in Glasgow, for a radius of 8 miles, everyone who comes in contact with Nick should be becoming blissful. As we chant more purely, we have more potency, and we have more effect upon people, profound effect. That's the legacy that we're trying to carry on to spread Krishna consciousness. Any other questions or comments?
How practical is this Vrata and this mantra, what we just read to us?
Well, it illustrates the chastity to the guru, to the instruction to follow the guru, and then because of the guru, he brings things up to speed according to where you are. It used to be that devotees were expected to chant 64 rounds. Srila Prabhupada changed it to 16. So there are certain principles now that are embedded in ISKCON that will stay like this now for the rest of the next 10,000 years anyway. But then the spiritual master will come and he'll be conversing with the Bhagavatam and also with your psychophysical conditioning, and he'll prescribe a particular series of duties for you to perform and instructions customized just for you to enable you to go back to Godhead. So the spiritual master does that. He's the via media. If we just try to approach Shastra on our own, which unfortunately is quite a popular thing today. People don't like to accept authority. So they think, well, I'll read it and I'll make my own mind up. And that doesn't work because your understanding may be immature. And so then your implementation will be faulty. So better that you go to somebody who's conversant with the principles of the Bhagavat and you take shelter of him, and then pranipatena sevaya, you submissively inquire, and then the guru can enlighten you and direct you, So that's the fundamental principle of this whole. And then the particular details will change, The one disciple has been told by the guru, I want you to travel and distribute books. Another one is saying, I want you to stay here and be the temple president of this temple. Another one is saying, I want you to make the deities your life and soul. So there'll all be variations, according to time and circumstance. And because the guru is Guru Tattva, he's being guided by the Lord within the heart, how to engage the jiva, the particular jiva that he's taking care of, That's what Guru Tattva means. He's come under the shelter of Balaram or Srimati Radharani, and through their guidance, he's able to direct the conditioned soul out of the material world. The Chaita Guru. Yeah, yeah. In fact, Srila Prabhupada was saying, he was looking at a property and he said, my Guru Maharaj likes this property. And he said, my Guru Maharaj is always right next to me. So he was like getting confirmation, you know, directly from, although the devotees couldn't see him, but Srila Prabhupada could see. And his Guru is liking it, and his Guru and his Guru. So this is a parampara, a chain, a succession. And that's how the current of electricity travels down from Goloka through the chain of spiritual masters. So when we become a bona fide Guru, when we fully understand and follow our Guru, then we become a link in the chain, and then we can connect to somebody else and pull them. And then when they connect to us, they're able to connect to somebody else. And this is a chain, a parampara, pulling the living entities out of the material world. We're all linking. We're all a link in the chain. And some may not link. So then if they don't link, then nobody can link onto them. So they just stay like a little hoop until it's linked. So we're of no use then for helping somebody else, because we're not connected ourselves. We have to connect, and then we can connect somebody else. Okay, so sometimes what I do when I'm doing a Sangha, I'll ask a question, and then you have to answer the question. So so the translation is saying, and who is it was saying the translation? Shukadeva Goswami. Shishikone Taimai Pashashiki Jai. So the prayer is saying, my Lord, you are full in all opulences, but I don't want these opulences. I just want to offer my respectful obeisances to the husband of the goddess of Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, who has all opulences. So the devotee is, he has so much faith that Krishna will give him whatever he needs and not give him anything that will obstruct him. He's saying, I'm not asking for anything. All I want to do is offer my obeisances and take shelter of you, come under your shelter, and then whatever you deem as fit. You know, if you want me to live in the palace or you want me to live in a grass hut, that's fine. Whatever it is that you want, I'm happy with that. So is it unrealistic to ask people in this age to try to be that surrendered? And would it be an awkward thing for us to ask somebody else to do this if we're not doing it ourselves? If they say, oh, you're saying you don't want any, you just want to offer your obeisances, but it looks like you have different opulences, different independences, different freedoms. Mm. Yeah. And what qualifies realistic? Yeah, I was thinking also realistic in the sense of what's sustainable. If you're not able to sustain it, then it's not realistic. So if it's sustainable, it means it may take you longer to get there, to get purified, but at least you're able to continue on your entire life, you know? And it's like if someone gives you a jewel and the jewel is beautiful, and you go, oh, what a beautiful jewel, this is so nice. And the person says, do you really want this jewel? Oh yeah, are you sure you really? Yeah. Okay, fine. It's 10 million pounds, and then you're like, oh well, maybe I'm. But if you still want it, even when it's 10 million pounds, and you can only pay off £10 a week, and you're not going to live long enough to pay it off, the one concession we have is, if you spend your entire life trying to pay off the jewel, then you purchase it, even if you only have, £9,000 at the end of your life. The difference will be made up by Krishna, because all Prabhupada's saying is, follow the four eggs, chant 16 rounds, and help spread Krishna consciousness. If you do that your entire life, I'll take you back. So you're going to get £10 million at the end, a £10 million jewel, even if you've only paid 100,000, if you've spent your whole life trying to pay it off. And so that's it. Okay, well, what's sustainable then? I can't pay 10 million immediately. I can do £10 a week. I can't do, if I do £50 a week, then I starve to death, and then I'm not able to give anything to the week after, you see. And there also we need the help of the spiritual master, because he will say, no, I just want you to do this. There was one artist, and he said, oh, Srila Prabhupada, I want to go to Russia and preach. And Srila Prabhupada started laughing, and he said, I want you to paint. He knew what he was capable of doing, and he wanted them to do that particular service. So then the devotee just surrendered. He thought, okay, well, if that's what he wants me to do, then that's it. I'll just do that, Then somebody else, he did turn on and say, I want you to go to Russia and preach, but not him. He told him to just paint. And if you please your spiritual master, if your spiritual master is pleased with you, then you can be sure Krishna is pleased with you. And that's what we want. And the process of bhakti isn't like austerities and meditation and huge yajnas and sacrifices. It's just to please. Sam siddhya haritoshanam. Everything is perfected. All siddhya perfected. If Hari is toshanam. If you can please Hari, you've achieved all perfection. That's the yardstick. If Hari is pleased, then you'll automatically be pleased. But if you try to please yourself, like the hand was getting fed up of giving the sweet balls to the mouth, and the stomach was enjoying it. And the hand got hold of the sweet ball and it said to the stomach, I'm sorry, but you do nothing. You just sit there all day and just get fat. No sweet balls for you, my friend. I'm going to have the sweet ball myself. Then the hand was squishing the sweet ball around and saying, I'm going to enjoy this myself, But then at the end of it, the hand was like really tired and really sticky, and it didn't feel very happy. So unless you do everything for Krishna's pleasure, you won't be satisfied. But because we're so used to grabbing things for ourselves, we've got to become greedy for Krishna now, instead of being greedy for fulfilling our own material desires. There's lust, anger, and greed, and the worst one is greed, because if you give a lusty person what he wants, at least for a little while he's satisfied, or an angry person gets what he wants, he's satisfied. But you give a greedy person something, and it's like, oh, is that all I'm getting? You can't satisfy. Just by its very nature, greed cannot be satisfied. But if we can become greedy for Krishna, then no matter how much we chant, no matter how much we serve, we're feeling, no, this isn't good enough. I want to do more. So we just have to shift it over, become greedy for Krishna. Because if you get greedy for Krishna in the form of prasadam, and you're too greedy, then you could get indigestion and overweight. So be careful about the greedy business when it comes to prasadam. Although Srila Prabhupada did say, for the first 6 months of your Krishna consciousness, eat until you waddle, which is like a penguin, You've eaten that much prasadam that you can't run away till you become purified. Any other questions or comments? Kartikeya, you've got a question, haven't you? No. So he's recognizing that the Lord is all cognizant, and He's more aware of what we need than we are aware of what we need, actually. So He's putting His full faith up. I'm not going to ask you for anything. I'm just going to ask you to give me shelter, and you'll give me what it is I actually need. I don't really know what it is I need anyway, Quite a lot of the time when it's happening to us, we don't feel like we need this, In fact, sometimes people say, that's the last thing, I don't need this. But then when you reflect back on it, years later, then you realize that was exactly what I needed, but you didn't appreciate it at the time. So Krishna's mercy is an acquired taste. It generally doesn't fit in with our idea of what we think it should be. Because Krishna knows where you're at and what it is you need, and He knows what will be a danger to you, and He wants to protect you from that. That's why the beginning of Krishna consciousness is seeing Krishna's hand, seeing He's making an arrangement for us. If we can't see that, then it means we're not really Krishna conscious. We're still trying to approach Krishna consciousness, but the first level of breaking into Krishna consciousness is seeing Krishna's hand in everything that's going on around us. And like, wow, And that's Krishna starting to let you know that He's behind everything, and all these different things are being arranged so that you can come back to Him. That's all He wants. He just wants you to come back to Him. Well, the demigod's hand is Krishna's hand. Everyone's hand is Krishna's hand, whoever it is. Whatever body that hand is on, or whatever vehicle that karma is coming to you, when you take up devotional service, you initiate a process. You start a dialogue with the Lord, then He starts speaking to you. And your ability to hear what He's telling you will depend on the purification of your heart. Whereas you become more purified, you start reading the pattern and understanding the dialogue that's going on and how Krishna's bringing you back. Whether Krishna's doing it through a demigod, whether He's doing it through a person who comes up to you and says something. You're distributing books and the person comes up to you and says, you should be more enthusiastic about this. No one's stopping. You look so miserable. Maybe if you were a bit more brighter and cheerful, you'd do a few more books, So you could think, who does he think he is? But then you could think, wow, Krishna's just told me this through him. So whether it's through the mouth of a conditioned soul, the hand of a demigod, the flick of an elephant's tail, a gust of wind from a cloud, whatever it is, that's Krishna telling you something. And then the challenge is, can you decipher to understand the language that Krishna's speaking to you in, Because you get your normal karma, and when you become a devotee, you get Krishna karma. And Krishna karma, it may be that today you were supposed to get a brick hit you on the head, but Krishna, he drops the brick on your head on Christmas Day when you were thinking of having a Christmas pudding that wasn't offered to him. Bing! You get your Krishna karma that day. He just saves it, and he gives it just when you need it, because he's involved now. And because he's all cognizant, he's aware of everything, past, present, and future, all at the same time. So nobody can have that type of intelligence like Krishna, that he can make such amazing judgments and make such perfect arrangements so that we can come back to him. Look at our lives. How did we come to Krishna consciousness? What was the arrangements that were made? Somebody spoke to us. We met somebody who gave us a book. A series of things have been taking place all the time to bring us to this point. And the dialogue doesn't stop now. It continues until eventually you're there in the spiritual world, and then the dialogue is very clearly going on then, We're becoming more and more aware. Krishna's interacting with me, he's reciprocating, he's making arrangements for me, he's speaking through people, he's arranging certain things to take place. What is his plan? What is Krishna's plan for Kartikeya? Or Nikki. Well, that's a good start. Yeah. 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 So Krishna, yeah, we know that whatever it is, it's with our best intention that Krishna's doing it, and because we have material desire, then that interferes with Krishna's plan. You see, he's like, I want him to do this, and we're like, well, I don't want to do that. So there's some resistance that he's pulling, and we're trying to pull away, and Krishna's pulling. That's why the 10th offense to the holy name is maintaining material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. Krishna's bending over backwards, and we're still maintaining material attachments. So we have to become proactively detached, not just based on how we feel. We're not practicing spiritual life based upon how we feel, but we're practicing Krishna consciousness based upon what we understand, what we value, you know. We don't want to behave in this way. We don't want to eat this particular thing, even though it would feel good to eat it, because we value that we've taken these vows now not to eat this, not to eat that. So then our values start to override our feelings, you know. And Krishna wants us to become very, very strong in spiritual life and very serious, so that we can then help other people. Every day that we're going on and we're dragging our feet and taking our time is another day that we've missed an opportunity to bring so many other people. And the whole material world is only here for the living entity to act out his desires and to become attracted again to going back to Krishna. That's the only reason anything's here. You know? Trying to facilitate, like having children in a playpen and they're playing their games, and the parent is all the time trying to facilitate the child so that they can get out the playpen and come back home as soon as possible. If you want to make Krishna laugh, then just tell him your plans, because he knows what's going to happen. You're only like guessing that maybe if this happens, I can do this. I mean, the devotees were telling me we have devotees here from Ukraine, and they were saying, if you'd have told me the week before I came over that I'd be in Scotland next week, then they wouldn't have believed it. They had plans. They were going to get a job, have a family, do this, pay off the car, all these different things were going to be. Next minute, a bomb drops and everything's changed. And then they come over, they've got to leave their property behind, all their stuff, and here they are, you know. And they're not quite sure what's going to happen now, you know. And if people say, oh, I'm so worried about the future, I'm so worried what's going to happen in the future, you can pacify them by saying, well, I can tell you what's going to happen in the future. You're going to grow old and you're going to die. That's all that's going to happen. I mean, you may do it in this building or that building with this pair of trousers on, driving up the road in this car, but you're just growing old and dying. That's all that's happening. And there's all kinds of varieties of that. So yeah, nice prayer. So Prabhupada says, don't artificially exert yourself. So it's actually a simple solution. It's a complicated problem, and it's a very simple solution. The problem with complicated problems are that we're looking for a complicated solution, because we think, well, it's so complicated, it can't be that easy. It can't just be that you throw your arms in the air and say, Krishna, from this day I am yours. It's got to be more to it than that, you know. So we have to be careful that we don't miss the simple solution by having a preconceived idea of some complicated strategy that we're thinking we can employ, and that'll help us to get free from our misery, And then we don't have to artificially exert ourselves. Which is an interesting phrase, to artificially exert is like, it's not real. It's like you're making this big struggle, and the whole idea of a struggle is you're trying to achieve some victory to conquer over the obstacles. But the whole thing's artificial because you're not really fighting the real challenges. You're thinking you are. I mean, how hard do people work to get a house, and the price of them now as well, right? We've got houses down here, and they're nothing special, but they're going now for like 350, 400,000. It's just a few bricks with some windows. It's 4 walls with a roof on top, and a few windows on the side, and they want $500,000 for it. And you spend your life working just to get that, so you can call it yours. And then when you're 66 and a half is the average age a person dies. So if you've worked till you're 65, you get a year and a half to sit around in these 4 walls that you can now call your own, and then you die. So that's artificial. It's like it's such a waste of time. And it's not that you can make the house so thick, the walls so thick, that the Yamadutas can't get in. I'm gonna work really hard all my life so that I get a house, and you can, when you close the door, the shutters come down, and the Yamadutas are like, "Come on, your time's up now." Nope, I've got enough food in here to last me 30 years. So come back later. The Yamadutas will just walk straight through the wall, come over to the body, and drag out the soul, take him down to see Yamaraj. Okay, I'll finish. Just go and go to the key. Srila Prabhupada ki. Go to Premanandi. Hari Bolo.